Crews race to keep ahead of changing winds in a massive Oklahoma wildfire. Plus, the search for superintendent intensifies as Bismarck schools look for their new leader. But first, a polarizing position. We'll show you the changing roles of school resource officers.
This is West Dakota Fox News at 9 with Molly Martinez and meteorologist Henry Blakes. Your first news of the night starts right now on West Dakota Fox News at 9.
Good evening, I'm Molly Martinez. This week, a school resource officer stopped a student shooter in Maryland. Some praise the position, saying it keeps kids safe. Others fear it militarizes our schools. Daniela Hurtado tells us what school representatives have to say about it.
Molly, Bismarck and Mandan school leaders tell me SROs connect children in a different way. They say this special connection helps students reach out if they see something concerning.
All right. You do a good one.
Whether it's a high five in the lunchroom or a fist pump before class, school resource officers go above and beyond to make a special bond.
Builds stronger relationships with kids, and in a relationship-based business that helps protect everyone.
Uzelman says they are important pillars in the lives of thousands across the country.
We want students to be comfortable with telling us information, because if we ain't getting the information, we can't do our job.
SROs also keep an extra eye out for anything troubling in schools.
Much like the incident in Maryland, having a school resource officer on campus is a benefit because you get an immediate response to a threat, and that's key.
People that don't agree with having guns say officers should have a presence in schools.
I have to yield to that because of the safety of the kids.
The principal of Mandan Middle School says having an officer on campus helps kids.
That they can talk to and express their concerns, and that what bothers them matters.
And sometimes a sit-down conversation is all that matters. As for the conversation on arming teachers, Uzelman says teachers don't seem fond of it. Officers say they leave it to the state representatives to decide.
Time now for our other top story. A storm is headed our way. Henry, tell us about it.
Yeah, we're going straight to graphics right now. Winter storm warning for much of the viewing area, and how long this snow will last later on.
Thanks, Henry. An investigation is underway into an officer-involved shooting in Fargo. It happened last night during a domestic disturbance. Police say when they arrived at the apartment on 32nd South Street, they ordered 28-year-old Orlando Estrada to come out. Witnesses say Estrada opened the door holding a large knife. That's when an officer shot him. Estrada retreated back into the apartment and closed the door. Police were able to eventually convince everyone else inside of the apartment to leave. Then they took Estrada into custody and to the hospital. The officer who fired the gun has been placed on administrative leave while the incident is investigated, which is standard policy. Some sad news out of the Kramer camp tonight. Representative Kevin Kramer announcing via Facebook that his son Isaac has died. Isaac suffered liver and kidney failure. Kramer said, quote, "Chris and I are grateful we were both able to see our son at the Mayo Clinic Methodist Hospital in Rochester this morning as he went to be with Jesus. Now Isaac feels no anxiety or urging for alcohol. He feels no pain and will never be depressed again." Today, the superintendent of North Dakota Highway Patrol announced he's stepping down. Mike Gerhart says he will retire on June 30th. Gerhart has spent 26 years with the department and was named superintendent in 2014. A top priority for the Bismarck City Commission is to provide efficient services and keep the streets in shape. But city leaders say they don't have enough money for both. So they're working on two financial proposals that could end up on the ballot. Megan Hoffman joins us now with the details. Megan?
If approved, the money needed would go to two places: funding future projects and maintaining what's already there. The city's infrastructure and special assessment task force are looking at ways to pay for both through property tax buydowns and a sales tax increase. Maintaining streets comes at a cost, about $17.5 million a year.
That's not filling potholes. That's actually chip sealing the street or mill and overlay where we grind the pavement off and lay new pavement down.
Couple that with three projects the city wants to complete over the next 5 years on Ash Cooley Drive, Washington Street, and 43rd Avenue. The city's looking at spending about $24.5 million a year. To fund that, city leaders want to cap the existing buy-down of property tax at 25 mills, meaning property owners would make up the difference in the future, and add another 0.5% to the current 1% sales tax.
As a city, we just have to be a little more creative about how we're generating revenue to pay for those projects.
But the biggest challenge will be to convince voters to go along with the plan. Both changes have to be approved by voters on a ballot.
Thanks, Megan. Well, it's back to the drawing board for the Bismarck School District. Mike Heelman, a former assistant superintendent who was in the running to temporarily fill the top spot, has backed out of consideration for personal reasons. The school board was interested in finding an interim superintendent for 1 year. That would give staff and parents a chance to provide input for a permanent replacement.
Oh, I'm hopeful and confident. Yeah, we still have a lot of time. And I'm sure that there's going to be some good options that'll come out of this, and we should be able to get it done in time.
The board will resume discussions at its next meeting. Today, Governor Doug Burgum talked tech, announcing a new 100 gigabit upgrade to the state network for next year. Maddie Jelseth explains what that means for you.
This upgrade will put North Dakota schools on the nation's leading edge of internet connectivity and speed. North Dakota schools will now have the ability to have 1 gigabyte connectivity. The upgrade would provide teachers the opportunity to use robust learning techniques in their classrooms.
Our research universities don't compete regionally, they compete globally. And anything we can do to enhance the attractability of our university system is a terrific feather in our cap.
Kirsten Basler, the state superintendent, says this new network will let students reach their fullest potential, and it'll help teachers as well.
They can use the high-definition video for distance education. They can do research. They can download software upgrades. They can take tests and access cloud-based curriculum.
Governor Burgum says if North Dakota wants to be the leaders of the 21st century, we need to think about connecting every inch of the state with this network, not just the schools. The upgrade is a 2-year contract, and it won't cost taxpayers any more money.
Speaking of technology, a plan to reorganize hundreds of state government IT employees was put on pause last month over cost concerns. Now it's getting a reboot. One part of the plan is for the legislature to use a cloud-based server. Some lawmakers voiced their concerns over the security and wondering if reorganizing would cost jobs. North Dakota Chief Information Officer Sean Riley weighed in.
We have more work than we could ever hope to accomplish. If people are willing to learn new skills and are willing to adapt to this new environment, then we absolutely have work for them to do.
Riley is hoping to get the bill rolling in the next few weeks. Around the region, water is rising in South Dakota's James River, creating concerns for farmers in the Mitchell area. The melted snow means many of the local bodies of water are brimming their banks. Davison County Emergency Management is keeping a close eye on the water levels. So far, there's no safety threat. Firefighters are trying to tame a massive wildfire in central Oklahoma. More than 100 acres have burned already in Grady County. At least 2 buildings and a number of cars were damaged or destroyed. But so far, fire crews have kept the flames from spreading to any homes. And a huge mess on a Dallas interstate after a semi clipped an overhead sign and flipped its trailer. The truck was carrying rocks, gravel, and hydraulic fluid, all of which spilled onto the highway. There were no reports of any injuries. And at least 18 passengers died and 33 others were wounded after a chartered tour bus plunged off the side of a road in northeast Thailand. Thai media is reporting the bus lost control on a downhill curve. World Health Organization statistics show that Thailand has the second highest rate of traffic fatalities after Libya. And a bizarre police chase through the Houston rush hour traffic this morning. Police performed a pit maneuver to pin the suspect's vehicle, but after officers got out of their squad cars, the suspect took off again in a slow-speed chase. He was stopped a few minutes later and taken into custody. Sacramento police are under fire after gunning down an unarmed black man. Helicopter footage captured the scene. Police initially responded to reports that the suspect had broken into several cars. Police fired around 20 rounds, believing the suspect was carrying a gun. He was later found to be carrying a cell phone. Police in California are looking for a burglar who might be testing his luck. Surveillance video shows a thief breaking into the 76 gas station in Simi Valley on March 5th and grabbing as many scratch-off lottery tickets as he can carry. He didn't wait long to see if he won, as police say he cashed out the stolen tickets within 3 hours. And a tricky aerial rescue in Japan today after 13 hikers got stuck on a snowy Tokyo mountain trail. Police say 7 of the people rescued were injured and airlifted. They say none of those injuries was life-threatening. Rescue workers escorting 6 others down the mountain. Cameras were rolling on a Dutch parliament speaker the moment a man tried to hang himself from the public gallery. The public video feed of the speaker's podium shows the lawmaker's shocked reaction after a loud thump is heard. The man survived the fall and was carried out of Parliament on a stretcher. Today, students staged a die-in in St. Paul, Minnesota. The grassroots organization Students Demand Action organized the protest. They're asking for tougher gun laws in the wake of the Parkland school shooting that killed 17. A national protest is scheduled this week in Washington. Well, where there's smoke, there's a recall. 500,000 smoke detectors are being pulled from the U.S. and Canada. The manufacturer Kitty says a flaw has hampered with the device's ability to detect smoke. The recall includes Kitty dual sensor smoke detectors sold at Home Depot, Walmart, and Amazon from September 2016 to January 2018. And some wild surveillance video to show you. A tree falls on top of a moving school bus in South Carolina. The Highway Patrol says strong winds likely played a factor. 6 high school students were on board. 5 of them were taken to the hospital with minor injuries. Another bus mishap. Villanova's journey to the Sweet 16 hit a bit of a snag this morning. The bus carrying the men's basketball team got stuck on a patch of snow. Finally, after nearly a dozen attempts, the bus broke free from the snow and took the Wildcats to the airport for their charter flight to Boston. More East Coast snow to tell you about, this time in New York City. The winter season has been a historic one for the Big Apple, marking the 5th consecutive year the city has had at least 30 inches of snow, a record that dates back to the late 1860s. And we've got some snow coming our way too. More on that now. Henry Blakes.
Yeah, we'll be talking about several inches of snow, especially where you're shaded in brown. You're under the winter storm warning.
The 2018 campaign season has commenced.
For the first time in a long time, the people of North Dakota have a choice on the Democratic side.
The Democratic Convention in Grand Forks was the official start to this year's important political cycle.
We've got continuing team coverage
Your
tonight.
election leader brought you team coverage of the event. Our team is committed to covering developments in state and congressional races all the way to Election Day to keep you informed. West Dakota Fox, your vote, your future, your election leader.
The president announcing tariffs on Chinese imports, stoking fears of a global trade war and leading U.S. stocks to plunge. This just weeks after he announced tariffs on steel and aluminum imports. Fox News correspondent Caroline Shively is in Washington with more.
This is the first of many.
The president says the memorandum levels a new round of tariffs on as much as $60 billion of Chinese imports and imposes investment restrictions to blunt China's attempts to take over companies that are technological innovators.
We have a tremendous intellectual property theft situation going on.
President Trump calling on China to reduce the trade deficit by $100 billion right away.
Just use the word reciprocal. If they charge us, we charge them the same thing.
From the White House today, the president said he has great respect for the Chinese president, and the tariffs aren't meant to punish, rather recover damages from what the White House calls unfair trade practices. China has threatened to, quote, take all necessary measures to defend itself.
As everyone knows, when it comes to trade, it is unrealistic and unreasonable to achieve complete equivalence.
This is just the latest round of tariffs the president has announced. He also added his administration is in the middle of what he calls positive negotiations with countries. However, some in the president's own party say the tariffs are concerning.
I believe in real competition, and I don't think we need tariffs to compete with the rest of the world.
The tariff announcement having immediate repercussions on our markets. By closing bell today, the Dow was down over 700 points. Technology and industrial companies, basic material makers, and healthcare companies were hit the hardest. The NASDAQ also giving up over 178 points. All this comes amid another shakeup in the West Wing. Today, President Trump's National Security Advisor H.R. McMaster announcing his resignation. Trump was quick to tweet, "I am pleased to announce that effective April 9th, John Bolton will be my new National Security Advisor. I'm very thankful for the service of General H.R. McMaster, who has done an outstanding job. There will be an official contract handover on April 9th. Also calling it quits today, Trump's lead lawyer, John Dowd, has reportedly been at odds with other members of the president's legal team over the possibility of the president doing an interview with special counsel Robert Mueller's team. Well, we're only a few hours away from National Puppy Day. If you want to chip in to help animals who need a home, make sure you donate to your local pet shelter. And while National Puppy Day is only once a year, you can help animals any day by giving locally. Well, getting your driver's license can be nerve-wracking. Just ask the teen behind the wheel of this car. 17-year-old from Monticello, Minnesota, crashed her vehicle through the License Center building. She had her car in drive instead of reverse. Police say the impact caused significant damage to both the vehicle and the building. The teen, however, will not be charged. Henry, did you pass your driving test on your first try?
I did. How about yourself?
It took me 37 tries.
Well, at least you finally passed it. That means you learned
Barely.
from it. Hey, I want to show you our Dixon Skywatch camera right now. We've got some rather thick fog across the Queen City, and conditions are going to deteriorate after that.
We'll see you tomorrow.